Why students should use false, free and open source software. The first thing we'll cover is what exactly constitutes false. The second thing that we will cover is the freedoms that false provide. And then we will take a ethical and pragmatic perspective of why to use false software according to the freedoms that it provides. Then we will go over a few ways to make the transition from proprietary software that is popular in use now and the false alternative to those softwares. To start off, what is false? Two criteria that actually make a false software is source code availability, clear source code, and it has to have an approved license. We have the GPL license, which is the GNU public license, MPL, Mozilla public license, the Apache license, BSD license, and MIT license are the 5 most popular that you'll come across. You also have a few extra ones, Creative Commons, and the list goes on. There's actually 60 approved licenses by the Open Source Initiative. These licenses offer 4 basic freedoms. The first freedom is that this false software can be used for any purposes. It can be used for commercial endeavors, for personal use, for educational use, scientific research. Anyway, it does not discriminate against a use. It gives the rights back to the users. The user can actually study and modify the source code since it is available. Users can distribute exact copies of the software for a fee or gratis, which means for no price. And with the second freedom, with being able to study and modify, users can also distribute their modified copies of said software. Ibn Moglin, a law professor at the University of Cambridge, said in a presentation to the European Parliament for adopting false software, his exact quote is, "Here is software. You may do anything you want with it. Copy it, modify it, give it to anyone you please. Just don't give them fewer rights in whatever you make than we gave you in what you started with." Which means you can't take an open source product and turn it into a proprietary product and restrict other users that you distribute it to. And I think that quote sums up the freedoms the best that I've seen. Then we would take a ethical and pragmatic perspective on each of the freedoms. The first freedom, the user being able to use the software for any purposes. Ethically, this takes away any kind of discrimination from the software. Whether it be a discrimination through a certain field of research, through a certain group or organization. So it's free for everyone. The pragmatic perspectives is with everyone being able to use it, whether you start up a new company or use it in the existing company, it makes it more dynamic to use. So you can use the same software at home as you can at work or at school. The ethical and pragmatic perspectives of the second freedom, the user can study and modify the source code. The ethical behind this is with students mainly, and not necessarily the camera dropped. The ethical perspectives behind this is mainly with students, and not necessarily students of universities or actually going to school, enrolled in a school. It's the students of the software. They can see how the software works. They can modify the software for how they want it to work. Pragmatic perspectives behind this is it makes it peer-reviewed. So the more eyes on the software means more beta testers, which means more bugs get fixed and they get fixed quicker. Microsoft Windows, for example, they take several years in between releases. They may do service pack updates, but they depend on the people that currently works at Microsoft to update their systems, their software. With open source, it's created by the community for the community. So the users are also the developers and also the beta testers, and everybody works together as a community. The third freedom, users can distribute exact copies of the software. Ethically, this promotes a sharing, a community effort among computer users. So if I have a classmate that needs a particular type of software, and I'm running a false software on my computer, I can burn them a copy or put it on a thumb drive and give it to them. Now they have the products that they need, the software that they need to get the job that they need to get done completed. The ethical and pragmatic perspectives of being able to distribute modified versions. If I make a fix and I'm able to put that fix out and I have the freedom to do that, then that makes me more productive in the community. And this is where the ethical and pragmatic perspectives, along with the previous, they kind of merge. So we're going to go over how to transition. If you're currently using Microsoft Office, the false replacement for Microsoft Office is actually what I'm using for the presentation that I'm giving today, which is Apache OpenOffice. If you are a user of Adobe Photoshop, which is a photo manipulation program, which is super expensive. I think the last time I checked on it, it was like $600 for one license. The false replacement to this is GIMP, the GNU Image Manipulation Program. If you use Windows Media Player, you can switch to VLC Media Player. These three false programs are more dynamic than their proprietary alternatives because they recognize and are able to play more file types. So they're actually better programs, along with offering more freedom. There's another program that I've actually recently switched to from Quicken, and I'm now using GNU Cache. This program has had reviews online where people has went and done away with Quicken, not worried about renewing their license, and went to GNU, and now they have that software free for the time that their computer is alive. And if you're still not convinced, took some quotes from a Microsoft software license agreement from the Office program for 2013. One says, "We do not sell our software or your copy of it, we only license it. Under our license, we grant you the right to install and run only one copy on one computer for one person to use." The other one is, "You have no right to use the software for any time permitted for activation." And it's not necessarily that you need to skip activation for those, but down after that quote, it says, "If you have not entered a product key during the time permitted for activation, most features of the software will stop running," which means Microsoft has access to your programs, which that means they have access to your computer and to your personal data. Going a little bit further than that, the next quote is, "Microsoft may send or receive information from your computer to theirs." And it says, "You may not always receive a separate notice when they connect." This means that you don't know when they are viewing your files, when they are updating your systems. They just have it set up to where it does, which takes away even more freedoms from you. To make the previous three even more scary is Microsoft uses the information it collects to the software features to upgrade or fix the software and otherwise improve our products and services. That sounds nice. In certain circumstances, we also share it with others. So not only do you let Microsoft into your home, you let all of their friends, all of their business partners also into your home. So the conclusion is that false software returns the rights to users. There is no restrictions on how you can use the software. It encourages education by opening up their source code and actually encouraging people to go through their source code and learn the program from the inside. It's peer-reviewed software, so there's less bugs. And it promotes a community support through sharing, modifying, and documentation. Thank you.